Council to order. I apologize for being late. I was under the impression the meeting started at 4:30.
That happens sometimes,
Yeah. Anyway, I guess the first item of our on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Are there any items that we'd like to add or delete? No. Okay. I should have mentioned that we honor the Mi'kmaq people. We're on their traditional territory, and we honor the Mi'kmaq people past, present, and future. So we'll go to item number 3 then. If there's, I guess we'll need a motion for approval of the agenda. So moved. Any to a seconder? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against?
Aye.
Motion carried.
I'll get Jeff.
Oh yeah, hi Jeff. Sorry. Yeah. So we'll now move to resolution FT 003 2023 adoption of the 2023-24 operating budget, and I'll turn it over to our Chair of Finance, Ron Dowling. Councillor Ron Dowling.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I guess in accordance with tradition, we do provide a 2023-24 budget highlight brief for the public. This will also be on our web page and will be sent out in our town newsletter. So on behalf of your newly elected Stratford Town Council, it's my pleasure to bring forward some highlights from the 2023-24 Town of Stratford budget. This budget contains no tax increases to either residential or commercial rates, and only a modest increase in our Stratford utility charges to cover for inflationary expense increases we are incurring. As we have mentioned before, however, the Town of Stratford continues to face significant pressures from growth. Growth over time can lead to increased revenue for the town, but in the short term, periods of growth put pressure on our finances. The town is required to deliver expanded services including water and sewer infrastructure, trails and sidewalks, increased recreational and cultural programming, and police and fire protection, among others, in order for the growth to occur. The town has been working alongside fellow municipalities through the Federation of PEI municipalities to negotiate an increase to the current revenue sharing agreement with the province of PEI. These funds are necessary to allow communities like ours to deliver the services and programs to our residents, which we're responsible for through the Municipal Government Act, and more importantly, which we want to be able to provide to you. We remain optimistic that following the election, a fresh approach can be found which will provide a long-term model that is predictable, stable, and fair. We recognize that we have a lot to celebrate in Stratford, a community of like-minded individuals who value our increasing diversity and culture alongside our history, who appreciate our natural environment and enjoy the growing active transportation connections we are making, and who are willing to engage with us and participate in various opportunities to provide feedback, thoughts, and ideas. Our community is special, and though it is growing and ever-changing, finding the right balance remains our commitment. We are always listening and looking out for the best interests of both our current and future residents. We are truly building the best community possible. In relation to revenues and expenses, the 2023-24 Town of Stratford budget forecasts revenue of $9,696,600, which includes government transfers of $1,655,000 and expenses of $9,696,300, resulting in a surplus of just $300. Like all island municipalities, the Town of Stratford is limited in the source of revenue available and relying primarily on property taxes, utility charges, and fees to pay for our services and infrastructure. While there are no tax increases for the budget year, our ability to maintain and particularly to expand or offer additional services, programming, and infrastructure is limited. As with the previous council, the current council remains committed to being fiscally responsible with your tax dollars while also balancing the needs of our community. Our 2023-24 budget includes continued investment in our community through priorities important to you, parks and green spaces, active transportation, tree planting and forest management planning, climate change mitigation, and more. We are all experiencing in our personal lives, as we are all experiencing in our personal lives, so too is the town of Stratford feeling the impacts of inflation. We continue to see many of our goods and services rise across our operational and capital expenses. Though we have been allocating for increases, it has certainly had an effect on our available funds and the overall costs to deliver services and programming, as well as on infrastructure. In relation to capital budgets, the town's capital budget is $21,506,600, which after infrastructure funding and other funding partners in the amount of $15,660,300, we'll have a net cost of $5,846,300. Funding for town capital includes $1,021,200 in New Deal gas tax funding, $12,204,400 in Investing in Canada funding, and $2,434,700 in other funding. The utility capital budget is $6,106,000, of which the town will receive infrastructure funding of $1,058,700 from the municipal strategic component funding, $1,073,600 from the Investing in Canada fund, and $400,600 in other funding for a net capital of $3,573,100. The town of Stratford was awarded $1.1 million through Canada Mortgage Housing Corporation's Housing Supply Challenge for an 18-month project with a goal of finding solutions around barriers to new housing supply. By working together and having conversations in our community, we can identify and close gaps and create goals to achieve suitable housing for all. Current zoning in Stratford and other island municipalities necessitates a high frequency of council consideration of zoning and approvals, which most often result in adversarial public meetings on development projects. There is a systemic challenge built into the existing process in building public and council in support for projects that increase density due to the values associated with traditional patterns of low-density development. Get involved and learn more and stay informed at shape.townofstratford.ca. And I believe we just had a new web page put up recently, Your Worship, on Shape Stratford. So I'd encourage citizens to have a look at that. In relation to the community campus, tenders have been issued for the site servicing work, which will get underway later this spring on the community campus lands. This is an exciting time as the first phase of work gets underway on this multi-phase, multi-year project. An application has been submitted for funding to begin developing the recreational and cultural infrastructure on the property, and if successful, could see design work later this year. The town continues to have many positive conversations with a variety of organizations expressing interest in becoming partners with the town of Stratford. We will continue to work with these groups where possible for the development of recreational and cultural infrastructure on the community campus. The Stratford Community Campus Master Plan was released last spring and is available to the public on the town's website. It includes a site plan with elements and amenities laid out in accordance with their relationship to one another, and showing where the roads, water and sewer services, electrical and communication services, stormwater infrastructure and active transportation infrastructure will be located, following the natural topography to the extent possible. The plan also includes a phasing scheme to enable the campus to be developed in an orderly fashion. However, funding opportunities and community needs may also dictate the development. This property will become a focal point for our community in the future and will include the previously announced high school by the province of PEI, which is expected to begin in the coming construction year. In time, the community campus will provide Stratford residents with a recreational, cultural, and social hub that will provide physical, social, and mental health benefits. Regards to the Michael Thomas Waterfront Park, Your Worship, Stratford residents and visitors can soon expect to see the first phase of the new park on our waterfront begin with the installation of a boardwalk to allow residents to access this space. The connection to Charlottetown from the boardwalk across the active transportation lane on the Hillsborough Bridge will bring opportunity for further development of the commercial lands around the waterfront park. With further information to be released in the near future, including the full report, residents will be pleased to know that the previously set out targets in the town's community energy plan have been met earlier than scheduled. We will be working this year to update and set new targets for the future. Though delays following hurricane cleanup efforts this past fall, 2023 will see the work continue to restore the pondside watershed. Work will include the dredging of both Moore's and Kelly's ponds and the rehabilitation of the wetland and buffer zones surrounding the ponds. Town staff, council, and residents are excited to see this project funded and moving forward. As the town of Stratford continues to grow, Your Worship, some identified staffing resource investments are once again being made in the upcoming year. The town of Stratford budget includes the continuation of a 36-week position in the planning department of a planning and development technician, a full-time planner position to work under our existing planner for succession planning, and a 50% position for administrative support. So that's a continuation by council, Your Worship, for investment in our staffing resources. Some other highlights are expansion of the transit system, core area development and potential zoning changes, installation and further active transportation, including a paved multi-use path on Kinloch Road from JK Beauty Lane to the Trans-Canada Highway, sustainable developments for splash pad, solar panel installation at Stratford Emergency Services Centre, subject to funding, purchase of a new electrical vehicle to add to the town's fleet, implementation of additional supports identified in the first annual business survey and other consultations, completion of a town organizational review, increase to the Stratford Youth Centre operational budget, outdoor rink liner for Bunbury Rink, additional professional fees to help the planning department with the development of potential short-term rental and food vendor bylaws, expansion of parking lot at Cotton Park, and renewable upgrades for town buildings. For an update in relation to the utility, Your Worship, Stratford Utility operates on a cash recovery basis, and as such, the town continually analyzes expenses to ensure that the rates for customers are equitable among our customers, while being sufficient to meet our long-term needs. With rising inflationary expenses increases over the past year, a modest increase to the base rate of water and sewer rate is required. The combined increase to the base rate amounts to a quarterly increase of $13.85, based on the single-family dwelling rate, or $55.40 annually. Stratford utility customers continue to demonstrate their support by limiting their personal use of water where possible and supporting conservation methods and programs. The past year saw the former lagoon site backfilled and landscaped, and this project remains exciting for our town and will allow us to develop much-needed park space on our waterfront. This site will be green with grass this coming spring for the first time since 1980. The 2023-24 Stratford utility budget includes $3,489,100 in revenue, consisting primarily of metered and unmetered utility customer rates. The expenses are budgeted to be $3,485,900, resulting in a surplus of $3,200. Further budget investments include construction of an additional water reservoir tower to supply domestic water and provide further fire protection to our growing community, as well as upgrades to the Corsh sewage pump station and force main, with the ultimate goal to redirect the Corsh station flows away from the pondside station and into the gravity trunk main instead. The completion of upgrades to the Bunbury sewage pumping station to accommodate the current and future growth in that area will also take place, with tenders issued in the near future. The 2023-24 budget year will see the utility continuing to implement the inflow and infiltration reduction program as a means to minimize the amount of water entering the sewer system that does not require treatment. Given that we are now pumping our sewage to Charlottetown, this work is even more important to complete and will reduce the amount of surface and groundwater seeping into the sewer system. The utility continues to monitor and review the sewer system to identify areas that require attention and repairs. In 2022, we've been able to rehabilitate 205 meters of sewer by using innovative technology where the existing pipe was lined through manhole access with no excavation work required. In closing, Your Worship, on behalf of all members of Council, I would like to thank our town staff for their ongoing efforts. I can assure you they are working hard for you every day and are mindful of the budget set forth and any expenses incurred. Secondly, I would like to thank my fellow councillor members for their hard work and commitment, commitment to the learning curve, as for many of us this is our first budget together. And finally, I would like to thank our great residents. Your trust in us to make the right decisions, no matter how tough, on your behalf is not something we take for granted. You should be proud of the work undertaken in this budget and in our wonderful community. There are a great many things to be proud of and to celebrate about and in our community. Please take advantage of the opportunities to have your voice included as they arise through the town's various engagement efforts and get involved in community life. You help make it better. Respectfully submitted, Ron Dowling, Chair of Finance and Technology.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks very much, Ron. Councillor Dowling. I guess before we move on to the resolutions, I'd like to know if anybody has any comments or questions before we on the report as submitted. If not, I just have a couple of comments. I think a good header for this, and it was suggested by a resident in our, and also I'd also like to welcome MLA Michelle Beaton to our meeting. Thank you very much for attending. I'm sorry I didn't notice you at the start, but glad you're here. Thank you very much for attending. As suggested by one of the residents in our survey, this is a growing town and we've got growing needs, and I think that needs to be recognized. You know, we are sort of newcomers to the island scene in a way. Before 1995, we were 5 small rural communities that joined together in 1995, and we had a population at that time of about 4,500. Now we're over 11,000, and we're on our way to becoming a city when we reach 15,000 in the not too distant future. So I think that needs to be recognized, and it's really hard sometimes for powers that be or whatever to realize that we're here and that we have a lot of needs, and and we're playing catch up, in a manner of speaking. We have a lot of things that need to be put in place. Our population has grown, but the infrastructure has not kept up, and that's what we're trying to do. This council is trying to put those major infrastructure pieces in place with staff and with the assistance of residents. So I look forward to major accomplishments this year. I think the waterfront walkway at Michael Thomas Park, our community campus infrastructure development, the new water tower, the dredging and restoration of Kelly's and Moore's ponds, and Jordan's Pond in the future. Sometime we'll be discussing that next year, and a housing approval process improvement so that we can put housing in place quicker, and all types of housing, and that's really badly needed by our growing community. New active transportation pathways so people don't have to use their car to get from point A to point B, and also traffic calming and other measures to improve safety. So, and all the while, this downtown development is being, major development is being done in the downtown core by the Gray Group. So all those things together make for a very busy year, and it's a very ambitious plan, but I think it's well thought out, and it's doable. And I just want to thank staff. I want to thank our Chair of Finance and Technology, Ron Dowling, Councillor Ron Dowling, for all his efforts. Kim O'Connell for all the work she did on this budget, Wendy Watts, who developed a lot of the ideas here, our CAO, Jeremy Crosby, who really was a driving force behind a lot of these initiatives, and the whole management team, our Deputy CAO, Jeremy Pierce, and all the members of the management team. I think it's really, and our residents who sit on committees, and all the members of council who have brought this budget and put this together. I really want to thank you, because I think it does represent a good group effort, and I think we're all on the same page. We will have a priority setting exercise after this budget is complete to make sure that we have all our plans in place for the remaining 3 years of our mandate, and then we'll go from there. So again, thank you very much. And so I guess, unless there are further comments, I guess we'll proceed with the resolutions.
Thank you, Your Worship. There are 5 resolutions in total. Councillor Jeff McDonald is going to read off resolutions FT004 and FT005 as the co-chair for Finance and Technology Committee. So first resolutions FT003-2023, adoption of the 2023-24 operating budget. It's moved by myself and is seconded by Councillor Jeff McDonald. Be it resolved that the 2023-24 Town of Stratford operating budget with revenue of $9,696,800 and expenses of $9,696,300 for a surplus of $300 be hereby approved in accordance with the following revenue and expense tables. And those tables are attached to each of the various tables are attached to each of the resolutions, Your Worship, and they've been circulated to Council prior for their review. Be it further resolved that the non-commercial municipal tax rate be set at 45 cents per $100 of assessment for 2023. The non-commercial, non-resident municipal tax rate be set at 90 cents per $100 of assessment for 2023. The non-commercial apartment municipal tax rate be set at 66 cents per $100 of assessment for 2023. The non-commercial, non-resident apartment municipal tax rate be set at $1.32 per $100 of assessment for 2023. The non-commercial motel municipal tax rate be set at 66 cents per $100 of assessment for 2023. The non-commercial, non-resident motel municipal tax rate be set at $1.32 per $100 of assessment for 2023. The commercial municipal tax rate be set at $1.25 per $100 of assessment for 2023. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Finance Committee as discussed at a meeting held on March 15th, 2023.
You move that, Councillor?
It was moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Jeff McDonald.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Ron. Okay, any discussion on this budget? Any comments or questions? Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Anyone against? Motion carried. Okay, resolution.
Okay, I'm pleased to present Resolution FT04-2023, which is the adoption of our 2023-24 capital budget, 4-year capital plan. It's moved by myself, Jeff McDonald, the Vice Chair of Finance, and seconded by Ron Dowling, our Chair. I just want to take a moment and thank all of our staff, in particular Kim O'Connell, for all of the work that she has done getting all of this prepared. And I really want to extend a thank you to Ron Dowling, very capable Chair of the Finance Committee. His leadership and guidance has been certainly invaluable over this short period of time when we all get up to speed on the matters. The resolution reads as follows. Whereas as part of the new Municipal Government Act, the Town of Stratford is required to submit a 5-year capital expenditure plan that includes an asset management program, and be it resolved that the 2023-24 capital budget for the following schedules be approved in the of $21,506,600, less New Deal funding of $1,021,200, less Investing in Canada funding of $12,204,400, and other funding of $2,434,700, for a net town capital budget of $5,846,300. Be it further resolved, the attached four-year capital plan covering the years 2024 to 2025, and then to 2027, 2028, per the following must be approved. And this resolution bears the recommendation of the Finance and Technology Committee as discussed at a meeting held on March 15th, 2023.
Okay, and those tables are in the resolution, so if anyone, I'll ask for a seconder first, and then we'll have a discussion. Oh, you already seconded, I'm sorry. Okay, any discussion, any comments or questions on these figures? If not, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried. Okay. Next resolution.
Next resolution for discussion and vote is number FT005-2023, adoption of our 2023-24 utility operating budget. Submitted by myself, Jeff McDonald, Vice Chair of the Finance and Technology Committee, seconded by Ron Dowling, our Chair. That resolution reads as follows. Be it resolved that the attached 2023 Stratford Utility Corporation operating budget with revenues of $3,489,100 and expenses of $3,485,900 for a surplus of $3,200 be approved as follows. And the tables are found in the paper resolution and electronic resolution. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Finance Committee as discussed at a meeting held on March 15th, 2023.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? If not, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay.
Next, Your Worship, is resolution number FT006-2023, adoption of the 2023-24 utility capital budget. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Jeff McDonald, co-chair of the Finance Committee. Whereas part of the new Municipal Government Act, the town of Stratford is required to submit a 5-year capital expenditure plan that includes an asset management program. And be it resolved that the following tables for the 2023-24 utility capital budget be approved in the amount of $6,106,000, less Investing in Canada funding of $1,073,600, municipal strategic component funding of $1,058,700, and other funding of $400,600 for the net capital expenditure of $3,573,100. Be it further resolved that the following table for the 4-year capital plan be approved covering the years 2024-25 to 2027-28. Those tables are attached, Your Worship, and this resolution bears a recommendation of the Finance Committee as discussed at a meeting held on March 15th, 2023.
Thank you, Councillor. We got a motion moved and seconded, and these figures, I guess, are especially for the last 2 or 3 years, are probably what you might call Class D estimates or whatever. That they're not. They are estimates at this point, but we will be following through. They'll form the basis for the budgets for those years.
Yes.
Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
The next, Your Worship, is resolution number FT007-2023, approval of the 2023 utility tariff. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Jeff McDonald, whereas a comprehensive review of water and sewer expenses as well as a projected 5-year capital plan was completed in 2020, And whereas these projections were analyzed through utility rate models to determine the rates for the water and sewer rate payers, and whereas expenses have increased substantially due to the high cost of inflation, there will be an increase to utility rates for the current year, and be it resolved that the attached Stratford utility tariff for 2023, which incorporates the following, be hereby approved. It's the unmetered water rate for a single-family dwelling will increase to $88.20 per quarter as of April 2023. The unmetered the unmetered sewer rate for a single-family dwelling will increase to $132.07 per quarter as of April 2023. The water base rate for a 5/8 meter customer will increase to $39.12 per quarter as of April 2023. The sewer base rate for a 5/8 meter customer will increase to $58.56 per quarter as of April 2023. The consumption charge for metered water will remain at 0.9680 cents per cubic meter as of April 2023, and the consumption charge for metered water will remain at $1.4530 cents per cubic meter as of April 2023. This resolution bears a recommendation of the Finance Committee as discussed at a meeting held on March 15th, 2023. And the entire tariff and tables are attached to the resolution, Your Worship.
Okay. And the consumption rate of 1.4530 per cubic meter, that's for metered sewer, right? Not for water. Yeah.
Did I say water?
Yeah, that's okay. So just, okay, so we got a motion moved and seconded. Any discussion? It is a bit of an increase, but it is something that with inflation and with the reduced consumption by residents, which is a credit to our water conservation efforts, and it's a real credit to our utility department and to residents who actually took the initiative and reduced their water consumption. Unfortunately, that leads to less revenue for the utility, and the utility has to pay its costs. And in order to do that, we have to have a certain amount of revenue. So that's the reason for this increase.
We haven't raised in how many years, Steve? Worship?
Not sure. Do you have the answer to that question? I don't think we raised it. We've raised it in order for the pipe to Charlottetown. It was raised, but our rates are still very comparable to surrounding communities. I think
3 years.
3 years since we've raised them. Yeah. So we have had some major initiatives since that. The pipe to Charlottetown, as I mentioned, and we are building a new water tower this year, and there's a number of things that are being done that necessitate this increase. Any other discussion? Any other comments?
No, just, Your Worship, to echo your comments, the water and sewer are certainly essential components to any community, and unfortunately, there is a cost that comes with that, and that cost has to increase from time to time in order to maintain balance within the utility. And I know the Stratford residents appreciate the service that's received, and appreciate also Council's anticipation and staff's projections ahead for the next year as to how we would achieve balance within the utility.
No,
Thank you.
that's well said. I think it is something that's hopefully we are making every effort to keep the costs as low as we can, but it was absolutely necessary this year to do this in order to keep the utility viable. Okay, with that, we have a moved and seconded motion. Any other comments or discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried. Okay, the next resolution is an infrastructure resolution. I'll ask the chair of the Infrastructure Committee, Deputy Mayor Gallant, to read that or to move that motion.
Thank you, Your Worship. Number INC 001-2023, new water reservoir design and build services, moved by myself. Whereas funding in an amount of $587,000, 145.98 has been obtained through the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program to construct a second water reservoir alongside the existing reservoir on Georgetown Road to increase water storage capacity needed for the significant growth and increased water demand within the town. Whereas a request for proposal was issued for design and build service for a new water reservoir to be constructed with only one submission being received on February 15, 2023 from Greater Area Engineered Storage Systems at a cost of $1,241,000, HST excluded. And whereas the Great Ontario has proven track record with many water reservoirs projects throughout Atlantic Canada and across Canada, including the town's current water reservoir. And whereas funding has been approved in the capital budget for $1,300,000, being resolved that a new water reservoir design and build service project be awarded to Great Ontario Engineered Storage Systems in the amount of $1,241,000, HSD excluded. This resolution bears a recommendation of the Infrastructure Committee as discussed at a meeting held on March 16, 2023.
Okay, do you have a seconder? Oh, thank you.
By Jody Jackson, Councillor
you.
Jackson.
Okay, any discussion? I think this will allow us to meet our water needs for a good period of time into the future. It's something that's necessary to for water. What do they call it? Fire-rated water. Be able to our fire hydrants to be able to fight fires and to provide drinking water for the whole town. So into the future.
This is a great plan for new subdivisions and clean water. We all want to have clean water.
That's right.
Yeah.
Any other comments or discussion? All right, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried. Thank you, Councillor Gallant, or Deputy Mayor Gallant. Okay.
I get the next one too, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just move to infrastructure here. Number INC 002 2023 Kinloch Road Multipurpose Pathway. Moved by myself, this date, March 22nd, 2023. Whereas 3 tenders were received on February 24th, 2023 for the construction of a paved pathway extending from the Trans-Canada Highway to J.K. Beauty Lane on the east side of Kinloch Road, with the results as follows. Contractor, Island Coastal Services, $497,216. Landmark is $621,895.50 cents there. Earth Forum was $754,675. And whereas funding through the Prince Edward Island Active Transportation Fund equal to 50% of eligible costs to a maximum of $265,434.79 has been attained, and the capital budget approved for the construction and site supervision of the project is $573,850. And whereas the engineering construction management inspection fee is estimated to be $28,180, excluding HST, for an estimated project total of $525,396, including HST.
Excluded.
Being it resolved that the construction of the Kinloch Road multi-purpose pathway be awarded to Island Coastal Service Limit in the amount of $479,000 and 216 HST excluded. A lot of numbers there.
497, eh?
Yeah, 497, yeah.
Yeah.
This resolution bears a recommendation of the Infrastructure Committee as discussed at a meeting held on March 16, 2023.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Thank
Second
you.
by Councillor Cox.
Okay, all those, any discussion, any comments? This is necessary for safety of some new housing that's been built on the former Smallwood property there. It's necessary for people to get up to the intersection and get on the active transportation pathway, as well as access some of the commercial establishments in that area.
I think this is great news. I'm just wondering, is there any indication that the project will begin?
Sorry, I didn't catch that, Jeff, Councilor McDonald?
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yep.
Great news about the project. I'm wondering if there's an anticipated start date.
When's it start?
I don't think the tenders have been awarded yet, so, or have been put out yet, so I guess the tenders will probably go out next week. Would that be?
This is.
We're just going to ask CAO Crosby here to respond.
Yeah, the tenders haven't gone out yet, but our intention will be to have it done this year. So as soon as we can get the tenders back, and probably be June before construction would start at the, you know, that'd be the earliest.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other discussion? Yeah, call for the vote.
Sorry, can I ask one question?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And I guess this would be directed towards Jeremy. And I have sat in on the infrastructure meetings. I'm wondering, is there a vision eventually that this paved area is continued? First of all, I guess that's my first question.
Yeah, we have looked at that, and our intention is to continue the path as we go along. This was the amount of funding that we could absorb at this time, but yes, our intention would be to continue a continuation of the path in the future.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions?
Any more, Jill? You just,
Well, no, I do. I mean, I guess eventually, at some point, I hope that we can also discuss like other areas that are actively voicing their concerns over safety and walking and crossing roads. I think Jeff and I both heard that in our ward a lot. So I hope that we can prioritize those folks on Rosebank Road eventually and possibly even consider a similar solution for them.
Yeah, we're currently updating our active transportation plan now to look at all the areas that don't have any active transportation, sidewalks, multi-use paths, bike lanes, etc. So we do have a consultant that's looking at that now. They've gone through the consultation process. There's another meeting with the staff that's coming up the next day or so, or I believe. And once they compile all that information, we will have an updated plan to present to council and the residents, which will give us direction on where we're going in the future.
Okay, thank you so
Yep,
much.
no problem.
Okay, any other comments or discussion? Okay, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
All right.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay,
I'm in overtime here tonight. I got the next one. Resolution, the Town of Stratford Resolution CW 008-2023, Federation of PEI, Prince of Round Municipalities, FPEIM, Board Member Appointment. Moved by myself, it's a committee of a whole. Whereas the Federation of Prince of Round Municipalities Constitution allows for a member of Stratford Town Council to serve as a member on a FPEIM board. Whereas Mayor Steve Ogden was nominated and agreed to put his name forward to serve on the board. Being resolved that Mayor Steve Ogden be appointed to serve as member of the FPEIM Board of Directors as the town's representative for the 4-year term following April 24th, 2023 annual meeting. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole was a meeting held yesterday on March 21st, 2023. I'm just looking for
seconder?
I can say.
Yep.
All those in favor? Or any discussion, first of all?
Yeah. Any discussion? I guess, yeah.
Well, I'll just make a comment. Your Worship, I think you're very well suited to sit on that board and represent the interests of the town with your experience, and you have been in that role for the past number of months. You've undertaken that, so I wish you well during your 4-year term.
Thank you. Guess I should hand the chair over to you and call for the vote.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, yeah. No, I agree 100% with Councillor Dowling. There's experience and knowledge on the board, and just lots of stuff there that we can benefit from. And you know, with the board itself, it's a really qualified board. It's all the municipality problems and concerns raised in pretty pretty nice, good to see, good to hear from them. So I'll make, I guess, look for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
Motion carried?
Yeah, motion carried.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. And thank you very much. I'm very honored to be appointed to do this. I think it's a really important time for FPEIM. I think with the revenue sharing discussions that are coming up and after the election, the new government, it will really need to be, the municipalities will have to be front and center in terms of our priorities and really trying to make sure that the government is aware of what our needs and priorities are, so that's something that I think I'll undertake to really take to heart is the priorities of this municipality, but the municipalities on the whole island. I think it's important to consider all the municipalities and what their needs are, and the big need right now is a fair and predictable and equitable revenue sharing agreement, which will provide more tax room to municipalities to be able to provide the services and programs and infrastructure that residents require and want and require. Okay, and I guess I'll ask the deputy chair of the or vice chair of the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee to this next one, I guess, is also an appointment.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, so I'll ask Councillor Jody Jackson to propose this, and I guess if you would take over the chair as well.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Can you hear me all right? Yeah. CW 009-2022, approval of the potential election of Mayor Steve Ogden to the board of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. Moved by myself, Councillor Jackson, whereas the Federation of Canadian Municipalities represents the interests of member municipalities on policy and program matters that fall within federal jurisdiction. And whereas FCM's board of directors is comprised of elected municipal officials from all regions and sizes of communities to form a broad base of support and provide FCM with the united voice required to carry the municipal message to the federal government. And whereas FCM's hybrid annual conference and trade show will be held on May 24th to 29th, 2023, during which time the annual general meeting will be held, followed by the election of the FCM's board of directors. Be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Stratford, Prince Edward Island, endorse Mayor Steve Ogden to stand for election on FCM's board of directors for the period starting May of 2023 and ending in June 2024. Be it further resolved that Council assumes all costs associated with Mayor Steve Ogden's attending the FCM Board of Directors meetings. This resolution bears a recommendation of the Committee of the Whole based on a meeting held on March 21st, 2023. So moved.
Need a seconder? Second by Councillor Gordy Cox. Any discussion?
I think this would be an excellent, it'd be excellent to have Mayor Ogden on this board to represent PEI. He's got a proven track record of getting things done for our town and for the province. So I think we would be very fortunate to have him in that role, and we will, at the FCM's meeting, be advocating for his success in that election.
Thank you. Anybody else? Jeff? Nothing? Any discussion?
No discussion.
Sorry, okay. Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay.
Anyone against?
Anyone against? They're all voted aye. No. Good.
Motion carried?
Motion carried.
Okay. Thank you. I think it's important also, the Federation is an important, it's an important organization. It's all municipalities in Canada. It represents 90% of the population of Canada, and we've had some good success lately with getting some funding from the Federation for our switch program and for our housing Shape Stratford study and initiative. So I think that there is a potential for us to really, in partnership with the FCM, to get some major accomplishments done and to help with some major accomplishments here in the town. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Okay, any other business before we adjourn? Anything else anyone would like to bring to the table at this time? Again, I'd like to thank everyone very much for all the work that's been done on the budget, and I look forward to a great year of accomplishment, and I really hope that we're able to achieve these. It's an ambitious plan, but I think it's doable, and I really look forward this time next year to having these initiatives completed and moving on to some new and exciting possibilities. So thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Thank you. So moved by Councillor Jackson. We're now adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.